Hi everyone, it's Kathy here, or Karma, depending on where you know me from. My channel is Karma's Creations, and if you'd like to subscribe, that would be wonderful. Please like if you enjoy this video or anything else that I've done. Now, Jerry Bellini had a yah this week, and she showed a flower that she has been making. I did a small group Zoom instructional on freeform crochet and a couple of talkies. This is my piece that I've been making, and this shows some of the ways that you can make the roses. You can see there's a big one here, a smaller one, little one petal over here. There's lots of leaves in different greens and blues. Here there's a purple one, not a green one. Lots down the bottom here. Anyway, this is my top. And I have used sock yarn in this one, hand-dyed sock yarns predominantly. And the cream on the outside is undyed. This is the pattern that I used to make that. It's a rose shawl pattern of Mackintosh Rose. The lady Svetlana who wrote the pattern or published the pattern, she is in a country where there's sanctions put on the products, so she's unable to sell outside of her own country right now through Etsy or anything. So it's not available for you to buy, but what I will do is I'll go through and I'll just give you a bit of a how-to on the basic motifs, and from there you might be able to make your own, build your own. You can use whatever colour you like to outline your pieces. It gives a totally different look depending on what colour you would use. This is sock yarn that I've used in this piece, so it's a little bit fine. For this demo, I'm going to be using 8-ply or DK, and I'm going to predominantly make all the motifs in greens and pinks with a grey back outline. That's just the start. I'm going to use a 4mm hook, maybe a 3.5mm if need be, to get a nice firm motif. My hook now has disappeared. Which is not good. I'll have to get another one out if I can't find it. Well, that's not nice. Not nice at all. Just let me have a look in the basket of things that I put aside here, just in case. Let's start off with the basic circle first. No, not in there. Okay, time to get another one then. None in that. looks like I'm using a 3.5, not a 4. Possibly. Oh, look, here it is on the floor. Is it? No, that's a screwdriver. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's start. In this pattern, we have, first of all, Jerry. That's Jerry Bellini. Look what I've done just for you. I have got a little area there taped off, and I won't go outside of it. How about that? Now, this is the beginning of most of the motifs, the flowers, start with a circle. You can do a magic ring if that's what you like, or you can do chain and make a ring that you like, whatever size. I'm going to make a chain ring. This is acrylic yarn that I'm using, just cheap yarn from the cheaper shops. Here in Australia, it's like Crazy Prices or something like that, Wayne's World, whatever. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go 8. No, let's go 10. It's not a very big ring. Now, if you're a beginner and you don't know, chain has a little V, so you're able to count how many you've done by counting the V's. So I've got 10 there. Let's put it under the light and under the camera. We might be. So I'm going to do a slip stitch. Oh, these are fairly, I won't say easy. They're anybody who can do a chain, a slip stitch, an American single crochet, American double crochet, and American treble can do these motifs. If you can work in circles, if you can turn over and go backwards and forwards, then there's no reason at all why you can't complete these motifs. So according to the directions here, these directions also include charts. If you like to work from charts more than words and photos, then they're supplied as well. So anyway, I've made my circle, my ring. I might just bring you down a little tiny bit. Yeah. And then it says to crochet 2 rounds of single crochet into the circle. The number of single crochet is random, and cut the coloured yarn. So the first row is, as you can see, through the ring. I'm going to do 2 circles here because there's 2 different finishes. But I'm going to do this one first. I'm also working over my tail, but that is not necessary. If you want to get a needle and sew your tail in later, that's perfectly fine as well. With freeform, really what you're doing is there is no rules. So if you don't like the way something is supposed to be worked, then don't work it that way. Find another way of doing it. Something else that you prefer to do or is easier for you to do. Sometimes if you have a disability or something happening, then you may have to find a totally different way to manage it. Okay, I've gone around the circle once, so I'm going to put a slip stitch in here. I don't know how many stitches I've got, and it's not what it matter. It doesn't matter. It's not. It's immaterial. Do another chain because we're going into another row, so that builds up the height of the stitch, the height of the row. Now, this particular circle, you can see that there's not 2 rows showing there, but there is 2 rows in the instructions. So what they've done, they've gone right back through. They're not going into the top of the stitch, they're going around the stitch again. So they're making a thicker ring by going right around once more and over the top of the first row. Thank you, Joyce. My friend Joyce, who lives in Sydney, picked this up in the pattern the other day. It totally slipped my, what do you call it? And slipped me picking it up. Because the instructions have been written by somebody whose language is English is not their first language, some things are presumed that we know them, and some things are written so that they're not spelt out in detail. So yeah, sometimes the pictures tell you more than the words do. So now that's starting to look more like this. So where it says work 2 rounds into in a circle, so it's going into the circle and not into the top of the top of the first row stitches. And I'm just going to keep going around until I get back to the beginning of that row, and then I'll do another slip stitch and clip this colour off. Pair of scissors. Doesn't need to be a long end, it can be a little short one. So there is the first part. Put it here on the white. Looks more like that. Now over here, what I was saying before about there being 2 different looks. In these 2 photos, you can see where the 2 rows have been worked into the centre of the ring. And in this photo, you can see where the second row has been worked into the top of the first row. And they're a totally different appearance, but they both do the same thing. Thank you, Joyce. Now I'm getting my green next. No, grey. Grey is my border colour. I always join with a standing stitch, which means you put the slip stitch onto the hook and then put the hook into the work. Now we're not going to join where we finished, we're going to go back or forwards or some, and you're going to go into any stitch, it doesn't matter. And I put it into the stitch, pull up the ring, pull up a loop, and then catch the yarn and pull up a loop. And what you end up with is a little single crochet already completed. You got photos 4 to 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Crochet 2 rounds into the coloured ring with single crochet using black yarn. Well, I'm using grey. Make sure that the motif is flat. In other words, if you've got too many stitches, it will have a wavy edge. If you have too little, it will start to cup up. It just says making sure two single crochets in one stitch of the previous round if you need to add extras. So I'm going to just go around and see if there's too many or too little, and if it starts to cup up, then I'm going to pull back and I'm going to double up a few stitches. So far it's not bad, so I might just double into this stitch here. And keep going until I feel as though it needs to have another double. One into each stitch at the top. As I said, this is a 3.5 hook, and starting to pull forward, so I'm going to put 2 in that one. 3.5mm hook, and I'm using DK weight or 8 ply in Australia yarn. It's also 3 weight if you're using the number weight system. And they're all acrylics that I'll be using in this for the demos. I would normally use wool or cotton, sometimes silk. And see how it's cupping? It's starting to roll up. So I need a few more stitches in there. So I'm going to go backwards. And I think I'll go every 3rd stitch. I'll put an increase and see how that goes. Don't be afraid to pull out. If you're doing a true freeform and you have no pattern and no inspiration, but you're just working from the inspiration of your own brain, then you'll do lots and lots and lots of pulling out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry if this is going a little bit slow, but might pause and get to the end of this row and come back. Okay, got to the end of the first row. Pattern 2's work too, but this standing single crochet that I started with, I'm just going to work into the top of it and slip stitch. And that's a nice edging. Now to do the next row, we do exactly the same. We go up one row with a chain stitch, and I did every third stitch last row, so I'm going to work every fourth stitch. I'm going to increase this time. And to increase, you're just putting 2 stitches in the same stitch. You may have a different count at the end of row 2 of this pink row or the inner row. So if you've got more, you may not need to increase as many times as I. Here's the 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you may have less stitches, so you may have to increase more often. Okay, I'll finish this row and I'll be back. Okay, I'm at the end of the 4th row. I'm just going to join them with another slip stitch. If I can get into the top of my own stitch. Next page. Now, these diagrams here show how to work crab stitch or reverse border stitch. To work a crab stitch, you work backwards. You work in the front side, but you go, instead of going right to left if you're a right-handed person, left to right if you're left-handed, you're actually going to go in the opposite direction, but with your work still facing you. There is an easier way to do a similar stitch, but for this particular thing, I will show you a crab stitch. It says here, photo 7 and 8, crochet around the motif using crab stitch as guided in illustration 1. So this is illustration 1. So again, now you go backwards. So I'm going to go and put my hook into the stitch behind. This is going to be a little bit hard for you to see. Pull up a loop. I now have 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to go put the yarn around the hook and draw them through the 2. So I've done a single crochet, but the single crochet is going in the opposite direction. So do it again. Here's the next stitch here. I know grey is not the easiest colour in the world to see. So I'm going to go into the stitch from front to back. I'm going to just catch that and bring it through. So I have 2 loops again on my hook. Yarn round hook and draw it through the 2. So that's 2 reverse single crochets, and I need to do that all the way around. I don't like this yarn, it doesn't feel very nice. I might find a different colour before I come back. And what I'm after is this appearance here. The little knobs and bumps on the outside. It's just nice. It's a twisted stitch. So just a minute, I'll be back. Okay, that's my finished initial circle. The next two photos show you how to take these ends and sew them in. I'll work one of those and bring one of those in with the 2 rows knot into the ring. You can also do 3 rows, 4 rows, whatever you want to make them bigger or smaller depending on where you want them to be. Now this one is a flower bud. This one has 3 petals, 3 petal motifs. I'd cut that out if I knew how to, but never mind. I'm going to try this one. I don't like the feel of this grey yarn, it's yucky. So I'll give it a try with this burgundy for the borders and outlines. So we start again the same way. All the circles start in the same manner. And I put however many chain until I decide it's big enough. I'm going to join it. I didn't count how many chain because it's not important. And it says, well, it does say, it says chain 10. There you go. Well, I had 10, so it doesn't matter. I think I did anyway. Shall we count them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's have another go. Without it curling. Let's pull this up and hold on to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's just been pulled down tight. Ten chain, join them in a circle. Slip stitch. I'm going to stay in the stitch today. 1 chain to build up, and then it says crochet 2 rounds of single crochet into the circle. Pull a long loop and draw the yarn skein into it. And don't worry about that, we're not going to do that. This is tying off the yarn and not knotting it. I think it is much better to knot it. So I'm going to do it the same as the one before, where we put 2 rows over the top of each other. I am presuming that whoever is watching knows how to do beginner level crocheting, how to do a chain stitch, a single crochet, a slip stitch, a double crochet, a half double and a treble. When we get to the stitches that are not beginner stitches, like a bullion or a puff stitch, I shall demonstrate them. right at the beginning. There are so many people on YouTube who can teach how to do the beginning stitches, how to start right from the beginning, that I will just assume that everybody can do those stitches that I just said. Okay, completed the first round. Gonna go again. Again, thank you, Joyce. Now this pattern is called the Mackintosh Rose shawl, and although I never made the shawl, what is interesting is the name of the rose, Mackintosh Rose. And it was a rose developed little story in here. Yes, please. Charles Rennie Mackintosh is an outstanding architect and designer. He was the founder of the Art Nouveau style. I said yes, please.
A cup of tea.
In Scotland. So anyway, he loved this rose. And the thing that it was unique about it was that as the rose petals got further out, they changed colour. Hence, this pattern being worked with the different colour rose petals on each rose, starting with the lighter ones in the middle and working out to the darker ones. I've never seen one. I'd like to have a look at one and maybe even procure one, but I've never even heard about it. So I don't know if they're available anywhere other than the British Isles or Scotland. Another area for me to investigate. Now, as I said, I'm not going to leave that attached. I'm going to cut it and work my ends in as I go. That's a little bit of the end from the middle. I'm going to cut that off, get rid of it. Now, the pattern says, crochet in a circle using the black yarn, or in this case, the dark yarn. I'm just going to call it the dark yarn. Crochet 2 rounds with single crochet into the circle. Oh, hang on, that's that right. Crochet in a circle using the dark yarn, as shown in the photos below. Skip 4 or 5 stitches from the fastened coloured yarn. So what that means is, here's the coloured yarn where it stopped. Go backwards a little bit and join your yarn here. So as before, I'm going to use a standing single crochet. So How I do that is I put a slip knot on the hook and then put the hook through the two loops on the top, the V of the stitch, pull up the loop, yarn around the hook and pull up a loop. So there I've attached a standing single crochet. Now, crochet 2 rounds with single crochet into the circle, pull a long loop and draw the yarn skein through. Now again, I'm not going to do that. That would have 2 balls of yarn attached to it by this stage. It says tying a knot. Well, I'm going to fasten off and tie a knot. So off I go doing my 2 rounds, and if I find that I need to add lots of stitches, I'm going to start by just doing every 3rd one, just for the fun of it. If I find there's too many stitches as I go around, I'll either drop it back or I will pull it back. That yarn's not very nice either. It's better than the grey one. I am a bit of a yarn snob. I do prefer to use hand-spun yarns, hand-spun wool, or use cotton. I love cotton. This is the same as the previous motif, only I'm not going to add the crab stitch, as I'm going to go straight into the first petal after I've done these 2 rounds and start building the flower. Just up here, please. Thanks. This has got a squeak or a scratch to it. Looks like I'll be looking for another one. It's a bit floppy too, so I think I'm going to pull it out and just go look for another one right now. Okay, I've come back with a purple this time. A lot of backwards stitching going on here. I have to go and have a good old dig in my supplies and find a yarn that feels nice. I'm not overly fond of acrylic, but it has its place. I think it's good for children's blankets, children's jumpers, children's hats, because they get a fair sort of a flogging. They don't get treated gently. Blankets get dragged around the room, get put on the floor, used as picnic blankets and all sorts of things. Go in the car, dogs sleep on them. So acrylic is really, really good for that. It's tougher. It's, yeah. I don't use wool for children. Cotton perhaps, but mostly acrylic. jumpers, yeah, they get played in hard, worn hard, slapped in hard, and normally they get tossed in the washing machine. So, and hats the same, peonies. So yes, I definitely think that acrylic has its place. I'm not a total hater of man-made yarns. Some are very beautiful. I've actually been known at times to spin acrylic fibre. It wasn't my most joyful moment, but on the other hand, it was okay. It wasn't yucky. On my way around, adding extras as I go. I changed to back to the pink in the next section and start petal. I'm just going to do a small flower, maybe 2 petals, and then I'm going to turn off and do more in the next video. If you need to slow me down, you can use the little cog on the screen and where it's got playback speed, and you can slow me right down so that you can keep repeating it, and if you can't see what I'm doing. I should have stopped that for a while so that I don't make this too long. Okay, I've fastened off that row as well, even though the pattern said to carry it. Okay, where's my pink gone? There it is. Now this chart, in this chart there's a key back here to show you what the symbols mean here, and they're in US terms. The black dot shows the beginning of each round. This flat circle, oval, means chain. This single stitch here with no markings on it or over it, that signifies a single crochet. This one that looks like a T with a little stroke through the middle, that signifies a double crochet. If it didn't have that stroke through the middle, it would be a half double crochet. And this little crescent shape is a slip stitch. So off we go back here. And on this pattern, if you're following the chart, you'd start here because that's where the circle is. And these are double crochets, so you would work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets and a slip stitch in the first row. Second row, you would flip over your work and work on the other side, and you're doing chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, double crochet, chain, chain, and another slip stitch. Let's have a go at that all over again. Start here where the dot is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single crochets and a crescent, which is a slip stitch. This is the next row. You turn over and you're going back. This little diagram here shows you with the arrows. So number 1 goes that way. Number 2 goes back this way. That's the green. Number 3 goes back right to left, etc. Now, if you choose to use these, you will count how many stitches there are in each section. If you're doing this here, the photos and the descriptions, then it will give most of the information, but it won't give you things like, in places, how many there are. So I'm going to start here, but then I'm just going to go to this, and I'm going to stay with this because it's much quicker to learn this and to work from this. If you don't understand something on that, then go to the photo and the written description and see what it says. Now, slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to go in here above it, and I'm going to put my hook through underneath the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn round hook, and pull through 2 loops. Standing single crochet. Now there's 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to run over the top of this. 7, 8, 9, and a slip stitch. Now we're going to go back and do row 2. So we're going to turn over, and it says 2 chain. It says put a little treble into the third one of those single crochets from the previous row. So 1, 2, 3. What they're asking you to do in the instructions is to have this one tight, which will shorten the stitch. 2 more chain, and they want you to make this one long to stretch it out. So it's in the next stitch. And it wants you to pull those threads up so that that one becomes much longer than this one. 2 more chain, second stitch along, 1, 2, and that one, stretch it out again, make an extended one. Candle just went out. 2 more chain, another short double crochet, tighten it right up so that makes it short. 2 more chain and a slip stitch. So you're going to miss these ones and you're going to go into the next stitch along there. Pull a loop through and then straight through, And then you get this crescent shape. And it will, looking at it from this side, this is where you're at. You're at this row here now. Now these are in two different colours. You've got a reddy brown one, and then you've got blue black here. Reddy black here and blue black. So that's your dark colour. That's where we changed colours again. So the next row is still in the petal colour. And it says, we're going back this way again, you want 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches over those 2 chain. So they're single crochets. So in that first little gap there, we're going to put 4 single crochets. Just go through the hole. Don't try and put them into the stitch on top of the. Just straight through the loop. And then the next section, you've got 1 on top of that stitch, on top of the double crochet. You got 2 more in that loop, and 1 more on top of that one. So we're going to go, this is the top of that stitch, so we're going to have 1 on there. We're going to have 2 more in the loop. I'm going to snip this off now and get rid of it. This is the end where I reattached it. It's gone. Another one in the top of that one, which is that one there. And then you've got 2 more and 1 in the top. 2 more in this loop. 1 more in the top of that stitch. And then you've got 2 more in the gap and 1 in the top. One in that double crochet. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 into that loop again, into that last little tiny loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's another slip stitch. We're going to clip that off, and I'm going to finish that off. Now we turn it over because the work says that we're going back this way now. And I'm going to join the purple again. And it says we need 1, 2, let's get it joined first, down on top of the slip stitch. We need to join this one. Now we've got 1, 2 in the first between the slip stitch and the first single crochet on the other side. We've got 2 stitches and then 1 on top of the first one. So there's a little gap there between that stitch we're in here and that stitch there. So going to go in there. I'm going to put 2. And then 1 on top. Then you've got 1, 1, 1, 1. All the way round to the other side, there is 1 in every stitch. You can see there's a line. They're all one on top of one another. So every stitch there's 1 single crochet in, 1 single crochet. And you keep doing that all the way to the end. And when you get back down to the end here, you've got 1 on top of that last one, 1 in the gap, and a slip stitch in the next. So that is the last stitch. So we've got 2 here, and then 1 in the last one, and a slip stitch down in here. And then you turn your work again, and we're going back this way on the outer row. Now it says you've got 1 single crochet here, and then you've got 1, 1. So you've got 1 pretty well on top of your slip stitch, 1 in your first, that's the first one that I've just done, and then 1, 1. Where is it? There, it's the first stitch. 1, 2, and then the next one you've got 2 in 1, and that should be on top of, no, not yet, we're not on top of anything. So we're going to do 2 in this stitch, and then you've got 2 more singles, 2 more singles in singles, and you've got 2 on top of 1, and it should be over the top of that first little two there on top of this one. Then you've got 1, 2, and then 2 on top of that one again. You can see how they line up there in a row. Then we've got 2 and another double, not a double, single crochet, 2 single crochet. That's the 2, and then you've got 2 and single, 2 singles. Yep, it's in the right place. And then you've got single, 2 singles. 2 singles in here. you've got 1 and 2. Pardon?
You on the thing again.
And then 2 more singles. And that'll finish off that row. Let's get these. We've got a lot of sewing in to do here now. This is why they said to leave them all hanging, but so I've finished all of this. And what I've done is up to this row here. So don't pull out. So I've done this bit here, this arc. It's hard to see. There you can see it. It's very hard to see on the pattern because of the white yarn. And then we've completed that. We started on the black again, the dark again, and then you did 2 rows. And then we're over here. I'm going to snip the end again and finish that off. I have lots of tails now to put in. Never mind. Okay, the first petal is complete. Now on the front side, which is this side, you get the coloured, which is my pink. And it says here to go backwards again. So we're not over the top of this, but we're going to start here, which is up on top of the... It says on the front side, grab the coloured yarn using a crochet hook and make the second petal as guided in chart 2. This here is chart 2. So we're going to start somewhere here up on top. It's not an exact science. Yeah. It shows here that the pale colour comes around here on that part of the top petal, and then part of the way over here on this circle. On the thing, this is what the chart looks like. So we're going to want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Now it goes from there down onto this bit. 11. I'm just going to run over all those threads. 12, 13, and a slip stitch. Now I have to turn over and I have 2 chain and a double crochet, 2 chain and a double crochet, 2 chain, double crochet, etc. to the end. The first one goes on top of the third single crochet from the previous round. So turn that all around. Do 2 chain. We've got 1, 2, 3, and that's the first double crochet. 2 chain. Second double crochet is on top of the 5th one. 2 chain. Next one is on top of the 7th. 2 chain. On top of the 9th. 2 chain. On top of the 11th. 2 chain and a slip stitch down there into the top of the petal further on, so it will be over here. Turn the work again and we're on this row, the 3rd row here, and it will be 1, 2, 2 single crochets in the first bit straight up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 in that first loop. 2, yarn spreading, 3, 4, and we've got 1 on the top of the double crochet, 2 in the next loop, 1 on top of the double crochet, 2 in the loop, 1 and all the way back round to the other side. So we've got 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, and there should be, I think, 1, 2, 3, and a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, and another slip stitch. So go along to the next stitch over. And that one will be finished again. this little short one can go. Now, this is what we've got at this stage. Now, we're going to go back and we're starting on this first one here. So, turn our work, join the dark. Yep. So we have to join it here. So we got one and then one on top of the first chain, double. Join it in the ring. Put this one back up on. One in the first single crochet. Then you got 1 and 2 and 1. So it's 1 in that single crochet, 2 in that one. And then 1 in that one. And then you've got 2 in the next one and 1. Then you got 1, 1, 1, 1. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 singles in singles, and you've got 2 in the next one. Two, 3, 4, and we're up to here. So wait, no, not that one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're up to here. So we've got 2 in that stitch and 1 in there. So 2 in that one. And then 1 in that one that's up on top of that double crochet. Then we've got 1, 2, 3. The third one you've got 2. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and another one. And then we're up to 1, 2, and the third one again is double. There's 2. 1, 2, and 2 in the one. One, 2, 3, 4 in singles, on singles, and then there's 1 extra and a slip. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth one we do 2. And a slip stitch down into there. And then we turn it over. And the last row, which starts right there. So we've got, say, 2 into the first one, because there's 1 here and then 1 there. And then a single in a single. And then you've got 2 in a single. One and a 2. Two and 2. 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2. Oh, got a 3 there. Up to the middle one, it's 2 singles. 2, like as in single, single, 2 singles. Two, a single, and 2 singles. A single, and 2 singles. And that's on top of that middle one, yes. Then from there we go 1, 2, 3, and 2. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 2 into the 1. I've got single, single, 2 singles. One, 2, and a 2 in the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're nearly at the end. And that's the end. We can snip these off, get them out of the road. And we've completed the second petal. And you just continue in that manner. Start here somewhere, here, here, even here, and work some of it onto this part. And you just keep wrapping those petals around until you have as many petals as you'd like. You could change the colour here if you like. And when you've completed all your petals, the size that you'd really like it, then you do a row of crab stitch around to complete the unit. So I'm going to leave that there because this is 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit tongue-tied at times. And yeah, the next one I'll do will be leaves. A couple of the different leaf shapes. Enjoy. I'll see you later. Bye.